Have you ever tried to speak, really speak, about what is happening inside you, only to feel your throat tighten, your chest become heavy, and your eyes begin to fill with tears long before any words manage to escape? Have you ever wanted to explain your feelings, your pain, your frustration, or even your happiness, but instead found yourself overwhelmed by emotion, unable to control your voice, unable to stay composed, unable to simply say it? If you have, then today's video is for you. Because crying when trying to express yourself is one of the most misunderstood human experiences. Some people think it means weakness. Some think it means you're too emotional. Some think it means you're dramatic, sensitive, or immature. But no. Crying when you express yourself is a psychological sign, a biological reaction, an emotional release, and a spiritual doorway. It is your mind telling you something important, something you've probably ignored for years. In this video, we will explore why it happens, what it means, and how you can understand, and eventually master it. We will talk about childhood, trauma, expression, shame, fear, emotional repression, identity, and the body's incredible ability to speak when the mind cannot. So sit with me for a moment. Take a breath. And let's walk together into one of the most intimate corners of the human soul. The moment before the tears. There is a moment, a very specific moment, right before the tears come. It happens when you try to say something true, something raw, something vulnerable, something real. Maybe you're telling someone that they hurt you. Maybe you're trying to explain a fear you've kept secret for years. Maybe you're trying to ask for help. Maybe you're opening up to someone you love. Maybe you're finally admitting something to yourself. And then your voice cracks. You swallow hard. Your breath stumbles, that your eyes burn. Your emotions rise faster than your words, and before you know it, you are crying. Not because you want to, not because you plan to, but because something inside you has been waiting for this moment of release. This moment reveals a deep truth. Tears are often the language that comes before words. Your body speaks first. Your emotions speak second. Your voice, your logical, composed, well-organized voice, comes last. This is why crying feels uncontrollable. Because it is. And that's okay. Where it really started. Your childhood. To understand why you cry when you try to express yourself, we have to go backwards. Far backwards. Not to last year. Not to your last breakup. Not to your last argument. But to your childhood. The earliest version of you. The small you, the innocent you, the pure you, learned what expression meant long before you even had words. When you were a child, emotions were simple. You felt something, you expressed it. You didn't hide. You didn't calculate. You didn't fear judgment. If you were sad, you cried. If you were scared, you cried. If you were overwhelmed, you cried. But as you grew up, something happened. The world trained you to stop. You were told, stop crying. Why are you so emotional? Be strong. Don't talk like that. Don't be dramatic. If you cry, I'll give you something to cry about. Those words were not small. They were not harmless. They were lessons. Lessons that taught you. Crying is wrong. Expressing is dangerous. Opening up leads to punishment. Vulnerability is unacceptable. Feelings must be hidden. So what did you do? You learned to swallow your feelings. You learned to silence your voice. You learned to hold the tears back. You learn to protect yourself by closing your heart. But here's the twist. The emotions never disappeared. They simply waited. Waited for the moment you would finally try to express them. Waited for a safe person. Waited for a safe place. Waited for the day you would finally say, I need to talk. And the moment you try, the tears rush out, not because you are weak, but because you are finally safe enough to speak. The emotional buildup. Years of unexpressed feelings. Crying when you speak is not random. It usually means you have been carrying something heavy for years, maybe even decades. Imagine a bottle slowly filling with water. Every disappointment. Every moment you felt invisible. Every time you were misunderstood. Every time you stayed silent to keep the peace. Every heartbreak you never fully healed. Every painful memory you never processed. Every fear you never named. All of it becomes pressure. So much pressure. And then suddenly one day, you try to talk. You try to release just a drop. And the whole bottle bursts. This is why the smallest question can make you cry. Are you okay? Talk to me. What's wrong? Tell me how you feel. Your body hears those questions not as simple words, but as permission. Permission to release everything you've held inside. Crying in this moment is not an emotional failure. It is emotional survival. The biology of why you cry when talking. Now let's talk about the actual science behind this. When you try to speak about something emotional, your body does three things. 1. Your amygdala activates. This is the part of your brain that processes fear and emotional memory. If the topic feels sensitive, painful, or threatening, your amygdala goes into high alert. Point 2. Your nervous system enters overwhelm. You feel a lump in your throat, called the globus sensation. This is caused by the tightening of muscles around your vocal cords. That's why your voice breaks. 3. Your tear glands activate as a release mechanism. Tears are your body's way of reducing stress hormones. Crying is literally designed to help you survive emotional overload. So when you cry during emotional expression, it is your biology helping you, not hurting you. You are not dramatic. You are not overreacting. You are not weak. You are human. The fear of not being understood. One of the biggest triggers for crying during expression is fear. Not fear of the topic itself, but fear of not being understood. You fear that your words will come out wrong. People won't get you. They will misjudge you. They will think you're too much. They will downplay your pain. They will reject your truth. This fear tightens your chest and overwhelms your nervous system. Your tears in this moment are a preemptive shield. They come because you are trying to say something that matters deeply to you. And you're scared the world won't receive it gently. Crying is your body whispering, "Please, please understand me." When the pain has no words, some emotions are too deep for language. The human mind struggles to turn trauma, grief, abandonment, or shame into clear sentences. Words are tools, but some wounds are larger than vocabulary. This is why your body cries even when your mind doesn't know what to say. Your tears become the expression your words cannot reach. You cry because the story is too painful to narrate. The memory is too heavy to revisit. The emotion is too tangled to untangle. The wound is too old to articulate. The experience shaped you too deeply to explain. Sometimes you don't cry because of what happened. You cry because explaining what happened forces you to relive it. The shame of having feelings. Many people cry when expressing themselves because they feel ashamed of having feelings at all. Shame is learned early. You were taught to be strong. You were taught that emotions are inconvenient. You were taught that crying is embarrassing. You were taught that expressing pain is a burden to others. So now, when you finally try to speak, the shame appears first. Your body reacts as if you're doing something forbidden. Your tears become the physical manifestation of all the years you were taught to hide yourself. You cry not because you're weak, but because you're finally breaking a lifelong rule. The rule that said, do not feel, do not speak, do not reveal yourself. The release of the unspoken self. Here is something powerful. Many people cry when expressing themselves because speaking the truth is an act of release. You are not just describing what happened. You are freeing the version of you who lived through it. When you speak your truth, you release the child who had no one. You release the teenager who was silent. You release the adult who carried everything alone. You release the moments that shaped you. You release the emotions that imprisoned you. You release the version of yourself who suffered quietly. Crying is the birth of emotional freedom. It is your body breaking open to let the weight escape. It is your soul unclenching. It is your heart exhaling after holding its breath for too long. Why you can speak calmly about other people's pain, but not your own. Have you ever noticed how easy it is to talk about someone else's problems, but nearly impossible to talk about your own? You can give advice. You can analyze. You can support others. You can be the strong one. You can be the teacher, the helper, the listener. But when the spotlight turns to you, everything falls apart. This happens because you were taught to prioritize others' feelings over your own. You never learned how to hold space for yourself. You only feel safe when you are not the vulnerable one. You have spent your life being the strong person, the responsible one, the protector. Being vulnerable feels foreign, unfamiliar, even dangerous. Your tears come because being vulnerable is new. It is scary. It is uncomfortable. But it is also necessary. When crying during expression is actually a sign of healing. People think crying means you're breaking down. But crying when expressing yourself often means you are finally breaking open. This type of crying means you are finally facing your truth. You are finally acknowledging your pain. You are finally allowing yourself to feel. You are finally letting go of tension stored for years. You are finally connecting to your authentic self. Healing is not quiet. Healing is loud. Healing is emotional. Healing is messy. And healing often begins with tears. Not tears of weakness, but tears of release. How to stop crying when expressing yourself, if you want to. Let's be clear, you do not need to stop crying. But if you want more control, here is how. 1. Name the emotion before speaking. Say out loud, even to yourself, I feel sad. I feel overwhelmed. I feel scared. The moment you name the emotion, it loses intensity. 2. Take slow breaths in and out through your nose. Breathing stabilizes your nervous system. 3. Write it down before saying it. Speaking raw emotions is harder than reading them. 4. Ground yourself physically. Touch your arm. Press your feet to the ground. Hold something in your hand. 5. Pause, don't suppress. Pausing keeps you in control. Suppressing creates more tears. 6. Speak slowly. Your body calms when your pace is gentle. 7. Practice self-expression regularly. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. Think of it like training a muscle. Your emotional muscle. When the tears are actually a message. Sometimes, crying during expression is a message from your subconscious that it might be saying, you need rest. You are overwhelmed. You have carried too much for too long. You are lonely. You are tired of being strong. You need comfort. You need support. You need honesty. You need someone to listen. Your tears are your body asking you to slow down, to pay attention, to take care of yourself. This is not failure. This is wisdom. The beauty of being a human who feels. There is nothing embarrassing about crying. There is nothing wrong with feeling deeply. You are not weak. You are not unstable. You are not dramatic. You are not broken. You are alive. You have a heart that feels. You have a soul that remembers. You have emotions that speak truth. You have a mind that longs for understanding. You have a body that protects you. You cry when you express yourself because your emotions matter. Because your experiences matter. Because you matter. Tears are not proof of weakness. They are proof of humanity. Giving yourself permission to feel. If you take away one thing from this video, let it be this. You are allowed to feel. You are allowed to struggle. You are allowed to speak. You are allowed to cry. You are allowed to express. You are allowed to be human. The world tried to teach you to hide your emotions. But you are not a robot. You are not a machine. You are not meant to carry everything silently. Your tears are your truth. Your truth is your power. And allowing yourself to feel is the first step toward allowing yourself to heal. So if you cry when you try to express yourself, be gentle with yourself. You cry because your soul is releasing what your mouth struggled to say. You cry because you are finally facing your truth. You cry because your emotions are real. You cry because you have been strong for too long. You cry because your healing has begun. And that is something to be proud of.